in a central office. Well, I taught high school, I taught in the technical college system, I taught adjunct from Northwestern, and then Dr. Stacy, who is the dean now here, she and I were good friends, and she was changing positions at the university, and she said, why don't you come apply for the job that I'm leaving? So in 2003, I came to work in the university full-time in an administrative position. And so in the last 20 years, since I've been here, I've moved up several different times and picked up different pieces of the university supervision. So I know Dr. Lau mentioned all the different things that fall under me, and so it's all the things that nobody else wanted. So it's food service, it's housing, it's the police, it's grounds, it's fiscal plan, and those type things. But what I want to talk to you the most about today, and then at the end we'll have a question and answer. So anything that you want to know about the operations of the university, I will try and answer for you. But today we're going to talk about the Keep Northwestern State Beautiful Project, which is an affiliate of the Keep Louisiana Beautiful, which is an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful. So they started with, the states, and then they trickled down. And so we are in the second cohort of universities that have applied to become an affiliate. And so to become the affiliate, there are several different things that we have to do. But it talks about when it was founded in 2000, started with 40 affiliates, and then we're adding each year. Excuse me. So what the main focus of Keep, and I'll say Northwestern Beautiful, is that we want to make sure that the grounds are well kept, that we educate our students, our faculty, our visitors about, not throwing trash on the ground. So tell me what you think the number one litter item is.
Vapes.
Chick-fil-A.
Water bottles.
Not just on campus,
Oh,
but the number one in the States. What would be the? It's not soda.
Plastic.
It's not plastic. The number one item we find on the ground, cigarette butts. So those are the things that are on the ground now. And so you don't think about it, and now that Northwestern is a smoke-free campus, you don't see it as much as we used to 10 years ago. So that's the number one thing that they're educating on is cigarette butts, because most people don't think about it. If they're smokers, they just throw it on the ground, stomp it out, hopefully, and keep on going. So what we are working on is educating our community, or our campus community, on things that we can do to keep it beautiful. One of the things that Dr. Lau mentioned, and we'll talk about it, but we received the trash can or trash receptacle grant. So most of you have seen outside the buildings. I know here at Russell we have the black, pretty, I call them wrought iron, but they're the black iron trash cans. They kind of blend in, but yet are still there for their purpose. So the state awarded us 10 more to put around campus. So we had gone through, and you have to do that. You have to identify places on campus that don't have trash receptacles that you find trash in. So there was a group of us that walked the campus and went through and identified some over by housing, some in front of the big, if any of you are residents on campus at UP2, in front of that in the big Iberville parking lot. If you drive through there every day, there's always, somebody said Chick-fil-A, there's always somebody's Chick-fil-A trash or Smoothie King cup or whatever it is on the ground. So we're really trying to work on, when you get out of your vehicle, just take it to a trash receptacle and not leave it on the ground, because we want to keep Northwestern beautiful. So this is a little bit more about the why. It influences students to make the right choices, and I think a lot of times, I don't know that we as consumers necessarily do it on purpose. You drop something, the wind takes it off, you don't run after it. Oh, I'll set this here, I'll pick it up in a minute, you walk off and leave it. So it's just about education and educating the students. We have monthly meetings that we attend as a committee for the university with the state, and we also on those calls are the universities that went through the process last year, and so they have some good advice different trainings that they have done on their campuses. You know, one of the biggest challenges that I find here on our campus is everybody wants to recycle. And I have to say, most of the time, college students are very aware of their environment and want to do better. But what does Natchitoches not have? A recycling center. What does Shreveport no longer have? And that's the recycling center. So even if you sort your things here in Natchitoches by cardboard, paper, food, those type things, they're also going to the same space. So how do you take that knowledge and convert it into actually being a conservationist? So I see, and I walked in with a water bottle, but a reusable cup. So if you notice in all of the academic buildings, we are now placing the bottle fillers. So yes, you can refill your same water bottle or your cup that you're carrying, but those are things to cut down on the single-use plastics. And that's one of the biggest focuses of Keep Louisiana Beautiful, is to cut down on those things. So part of the process was we had to conduct a waste audit. And it was quite interesting, and you can see from here, they provided us with the tarps, they provided us with the buckets and the grabbers. And so what we had to do is had to go around to different places on campus, pull the trash bags out of these trash cans, and then take it down to the grounds department, and we sorted through it. So if you think about it and you have a cup with coffee or Coke or whatever's in it, pour it out before you put it in a trash receptacle. Because as long as there's ground, and if it's concrete or something, you can't do that. But it will absorb into the ground. But we had lots of undrank coffee and different things from Starbucks in there. But you can see we sorted through, and basically here on campus, one of these is from the library, so students do walk back across the street, and I think they've eaten their food by the time they get across. And at the library, there's lots of Chick-fil-A trash bags or trash things there. So we went through, sorted, weighed, we had to report all that to the state by the type of material, the foods, and those kind of things. This is talking about the trash receptacle grant that we received. Ours will not be the wooden ones, ours will be the metal that match our campus receptacles that we already have. They will have the Let Louisiana Shine on there, and so each year the state has a program that's Love the Boot Week, and so that's what's coming up, and I'll give you the dates in just a second. It's next week, starts next Monday, and so there are different ways that you can volunteer and different things that you can do. Another thing that we have, even if you can't do it next week during Love the Boot, and that's a statewide campaign, so all campuses, universities, cities, anyone that's affiliated with the Keep Louisiana Beautiful organization will have activities next week during the Love the Boot week. But if you can't participate next week, if you're in a group, or an organization, or if you just want to go around one day and get out and walk the campus, the library is working with Keep Louisiana Beautiful, and they will have checkout kits. And so it will be the grabber, some gloves, a trash bag, and you can walk campus as a group or an individual if you wanted to, and pick up trash and litter and those kind away. Those kinds of things. If you know that an event is coming up, you can always let us know, and we'll try and send out an extra group to pick up and do those kind of things. My daughter, who's now 16, used to laugh when she was little. She would come up for Freshman Connection, and the week before Freshman Connection, she would always see the connectors out picking up trash. So now, anytime she sees students on campus picking up, she goes, "Mom, it's Freshman Connection coming. I see Miss Reetha's group out picking up trash." So we always do a big sweep of campus, because even though we have a couple guys on the grounds crew every morning picking up throughout the day, trash is left all along. So the events next week that are here on campus, and that's a little small, but it'll be coming out this week, so you'll see it in Student Messenger if it didn't come out, this week already. But Monday, the SGA will do a resolution to support, keep, Northwestern State, beautiful and love the boot week. On Tuesday, a great volunteer opportunity. If you need some service hours, want to go help, the Special Olympics is wonderful to help with. To see those children participate, it's out on the track, and to see them go through the different races and different things, it's really rewarding. And it's also very special to them to see so many people interested in wanting to help them. So just another great opportunity. Wednesday is be a tourist in your college town. And so Alpha Lambda Delta, which is the Honor Society, is doing having beignets and academic meat pies. So there's a drawing and some different things that you can do there. Thursday is what they call Fork Out Fest, and it's up on 7 Oak Stage, so Iberville Green. And there's going to be food, music, those kind of things. And so we'll also be promoting put your trash in the receptacles while you're there. And then Friday is the V.L. Roy Service Day that we do every year. And so this year we're just doing it in conjunction with Love the Boot. And that's when the SGA and all will do some different service projects around campus and around town. I know they typically go to the cemetery here on 2nd Street and pick up limbs and trash and those kind of things, along with some other things. So these are all on here. They will be on the SGA's website, social media, those kind of things. So that's really kind of just some of the things, a quick overview of what we're doing with Keep Louisiana Beautiful. Do you have some suggestions for what could be done? I mean, what do you see on campus that could be changed? Or what could we do to help keep with keeping grounds up, keeping trash picked up, safety and security? Obviously, when we talked about it, my stuff in the beginning, I have university police as well as our safety and compliance officer that fall under this unit. So, what's some thoughts? I know y'all been discussing some of this in class. If you're the manager, what do you see to go, if I was in charge, I would change this. I would fix this.
Any suggestions or thoughts?
There's always something you can
If
change.
you're caught littering, make a fine or something.
Have some type of fine, in which the state does have that, but it's very hard. But I agree. Maybe they have to turn around and do community service and pick up trash. You know, sometimes when you don't realize the things you're doing, but when you have to go behind somebody else and clean up, makes a little difference. And we have talked about doing that for some of the student conduct issues. No, necessarily, I don't think we'll give them an orange jumpsuit, make them walk around, but, you know, just having to go out and spend some of their free time or, you know, their personal time giving service back to others. How many of you are involved in some type of service organization? So get involved. How many of you live on campus? So, a little more opportunity typically. Just right there, if somebody's grabbing y'all to go do something. Suggestions for the campus in general, not necessarily related to grounds. What would you like to see different? Improved? Don't tell me open the natatorium.
Suggestions?
I mean, like, the roads, I can, like, some of the roads have already been, like, you know, kind of repaved and stuff. But,
Right.
you know, just that one by, Chaplin, definitely has.
Here on,
Oh, yeah, Chaplin, just
yep.
right on there, and then,
so South Jefferson, okay? And we've got that on our capital outlay request.
And then just some of the, like, the pathways, like, I mean, like, it's honestly like a good campus, like, just walk around, especially like a day like this, it's pretty nice. And, some of the, I know they have some, like, cracks and stuff.
Sidewalks.
But I mean, always just really nice to have and something like
I agree. So we've got those things in our plan. So, actually the legislature has just convened. And so one of our requests is some money to repave some roads, especially Tarleton, those of you that live or have class in the TEC and then go along, University Collins and on down to the physical plant and then turn there at Chapman's. That road is very narrow. We have repaired it several times. The rain this year has not helped. But it's also where our central receiving is now down at the physical plant. And so we have all the truckloads, 18-wheelers, those heavy loads coming onto campus. And that's the road that they follow, as well as school buses, because of the E-Lab and Middle Lab being on campus and the transfer of students between. So we are looking at trying to widen Tarleton, as well as overlay and repair that because it's getting pretty rough. So we do try and keep up with potholes as best as possible. But y'all can always, and so this is my contact information. The 5701 is the office number. My email, and so like I said, I've been here forever, so Anderson was my maiden name, and so that's where the Anderson JE comes from. And at the time I first came, there was another Jennifer Anderson here. So that's why I have the JE. So most people get my email wrong because if they remember the Anderson, they don't get the E on J with the J. So, but I'm across the street. So in the Kappa building, in the glass, in Miguel. So I'm right there behind the stairwell. So I'm an easy walk from here, just across the street. So any other questions? Anything you want to know about the university, how we operate, what the management structure looks like?
Yes. Tell us.
Okay,
Maybe
so you know we have the president, and then the president has vice presidents, or there's several of us who sit at the cabinet level, so we'll say vice president or executive director level. So Ms. Rita Cox is the vice president for student affairs and the dean of students, so any student-related issue goes through her office or tries to go through her office. Now, because of me being executive director in university affairs, because I have the auxiliary piece and the police piece, a lot of students' concerns and or complaints come through my office because typically it's food service, it's housing, or it's the police. So whether they need help or whether they're complaining about something, a lot of those things, and a lot of times students will go to Ms. Rita and then she will forward your email on to me and say, hey, I'm copying Ms. Jennifer, and do that. So there's Rita, there's me. Mr. Pat Jones is our CFO. So he's our chief financial officer, and I don't believe he carries the title of vice president. I think it's just CFO. Dr. Hondel, most importantly, the provost and dean of the graduate school. So he is the chief academic officer, and he is a vice president. And Dr. Snowden, who is the vice president for diversity and inclusion. So that Dr. Drake Owens, who took Mr. Jerry Pierce's place when he passed away, is the vice president of external affairs. And so that makes up the president's cabinet. So any of us who are direct reports to Dr. Jones can always help you if you. Most of the time, he's very accessible and you can get to him, but a lot of times he will defer you. Or if you talk to Ms. Hannah, she will say, I'm going to contact one of these people that can help you. And then if it's not resolved, then Dr. Jones will get involved and those kind of things. So there, and then from there, we trickle down. So under Dr. Hondel, you have all the deans. So you have Dr. Stacy, who is here, Dr. Kim McAllister, who is the dean of the College of Education, Dr. Lemoyne, who is the dean of arts. They changed it, arts and sciences, and that's not the correct title, but you know what I'm talking about. And then Dr. Joel Hicks, who is the dean of nursing. So even though he is on the Shreveport campus, he still oversees our nursing program here, as well as in Alexandria. So we now have clinical sites in Shreveport, Natchitoches, and in Alexandria for our nursing program. So that's the main leadership of the university. Dr. Jones is very generous in his handle your area and let you manage your own people and your own staff. And just through recommendations before we obviously make any changes, we go to him and say, here's what I'd like to do. And we discuss those things. But he's very hands-on but hands-off as well. And so you'll learn as you go through the world of work. You will work for both types. And being very hands-on is very nice when you're young and early in a job. After I've been here 20 years doing the same thing basically, I'm like, I got this. You know, if I need you, I'll call, and he knows that. Dr. Jones and I worked very close together when he was in this role before he became president. So, and he having his JD, we were always looking for him for legal advice. So, with all of the contracts and all that come through auxiliaries, with food service, with housing, with the bookstore, those kind of things, you know, we've always relied on him to review those contracts from a legal aspect to protect the university. And that's something that you have to always think about when you're in these positions, is not only what's best for the university, but what's best for the students, and try and find that happy medium. Any other questions? Any questions about Keep Louisiana Beautiful? You'll have some, if you have someone on leave, just shoot me an email.
I may have some. So
Okay.
we are talking about the reduced litter, right?
Right.
Louisiana Beautiful. So is there any system here in Natchitoches or in our university or in the state about recycling?
So the state does have some recycling programs and different things if you're in large cities. So Baton Rouge, Shreveport used to. They closed down the, I'm trying to think of the name of it. One of my friends that works here at the university, her husband worked for that company. Anyway, they had a large recycling plant in Shreveport, and so they actually sorted all the cardboard went this way, you know, plastic bottles, one time use plastics went a different way, but they closed it. And so now there's really nowhere here to recycle. But what we do on campus, if you've been in Kappa, if you've noticed by the vending machines, they've gone to a lot of back to the canned drinks, the aluminum cans. And so our art department is taking those cans and recycling those and making art out of the aluminum. So they are doing that. We've talked about doing some plastic recycling. I think Corbin, who teaches in our art department, has bought the Inferno, I'll call it, but whatever melts the plastic. So you can now take some one-time use or single-use plastics, you can melt down and use that for art as well. So the art department, I have to say, Kappa has been very forward-thinking. And what do we use every day on this campus that's not being recycled in this area that could be recycled? So those are some things that we're doing, and I think the biggest education piece that we're trying to do, and we will apply for the next grant as well, will be to put in more of the bottle filler stations. I think we learned a lot of that during COVID. People got used to carrying their own bottles, and so as long as they are convenient, most people will stop by, refill something, and keep going. So especially during the summer when it's hot, because they're cold.
I'm gonna keep Louisiana Beautiful questions. So
Okay.
my family's from Lake Charles. There's no recycling in Lake Charles. Everything is done by waste management or contracted to waste management. They just don't do recycling. Is that something that to get recycling? Is that something that the city would have to go like reach out to you all to like help make it happen?
We can help push it, and like I said, we were doing it on campus as long as Shreveport had their recycling center, and also the city was doing it because if you remember, if some of you have been here for a couple of years, where the brewery is now. In front of it, they used to have the dumpsters that were strictly for boxes, cardboard boxes, paper, for recyclable papers. People would bring their household trash and throw in there. They put up cameras and some different things, but they were transferring all that to Shreveport. Now that Shreveport doesn't have it, I don't believe Alexandria does. So it's not, you hate to say it, but it's not cost effective to recycle, to haul it to Baton Rouge, most likely would be the
My
closest
understanding
place.
the closest place is Houston or PR.
Right.
Because we try, because my family work, my dad works for not manufacturing, but they have a lot of cardboard waste.
Right.
And they were trying to find a way to not just have it, the output is too large, like the big waste management dumpster every month, so we can recycle that instead of just
Putting it in a
putting it
landfill somewhere, I
We tried,
agree.
but it was prohibitive, I remember it was prohibitively expensive, because I helped try and make it happen.
Yeah, look at it. And that's the sad part of this, is that it's so expensive to be recycling, to take care of the planet. It does cost, but I think a lot of it is in education. And so if you notice, a lot of the places have gone from plastic cups back to cardboard. A lot of places will use a biodegradable straw versus a plastic straw, which is fine for about the first hour, and then it starts biodegrading on you. But, those are small things that you don't think about. If you want to do a little more research in what, these programs have to offer, you can start at the, Keep America Beautiful, so it's just KAB, I believe .org. Yes, KAB.org. And that will tell you a lot about the Keep America Beautiful. Keep Louisiana Beautiful also has a great website and lots of different information. If you want to be involved with our Keep Louisiana Beautiful or Keep Northwestern State Beautiful affiliate, just shoot me an email. I can send you the link to the Zoom calls we have once a month, and you can just listen in. I think UL Lafayette has probably one of the best programs out that I have seen on sustainability. And so obviously I know all of y'all are social media, so their Instagram is UL, I believe, _sustainability. And they have a great program going. They're very active. They also do a lot of coastal because of being so close to the Gulf and all, their waterways. So they do a lot of training as well on the damage that plastics do to marine life. And so when you start looking at those kind of things, it's pretty interesting. And then you can just decide how big of a rabbit hole you want to go down and how far you want to keep digging down into what some of the other schools are doing. We had a teacher in the sciences who, actually I've had two since I've been here that have been very involved in trying to get some things moving on campus. We looked at doing kind of like a community garden where we would do compost and those kind of things from some of it down at the fiscal plant. But just about the time we got all of that rolling was one of the years we had big budget cuts and things kind of trickled away. And then several years ago, right before COVID, we were looking at trying to revamp some of the community garden recycle type things. And it gets a little momentum. We get this group together, and y'all are all probably juniors or seniors, and by the time we get it rolling, you're gone. And then it's somebody else who wants to pick up the torch and keep going. So it's a training process. And there's just been some changes through the academic world that we've not kept up with doing those things. But it is something very interesting that we've looked at doing. It's just getting the time commitment from the students to come and work it, as well as the faculty and staff. Any other questions? Good time for your class. I talked a while, so. You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, no other questions?
So is there a strategic plan from the university level about the sustainability?
We don't necessarily have a plan yet. Part of the training with KLB is to work on what some sustainability will look like and how we plan on continuing to stay an affiliate, and that's to do those things. Another thing that, part of this is the Tree America campus. And so we've looked at one time we were. And so I've tried to go back and do some research on that as well. If any of you are, tree lovers, we do work on trying to sustain what our beautiful campus does have. We have lost a couple trees through the freeze this year, lightning last week. Got one right across from the student union, so if you're going by the old auditorium, look back right beside by the auditorium. If you look right there, there's a tree, and it's circled the lightning strike, so you can see the circle in where it got the tree and pulled all the bark off. So it will have to come down because that'll be a hazard. So many students walk across right there. So we try not to cut trees. But occasionally, y'all know none of y'all were here when we had the last, some of y'all could have been, when we had the last big hurricane and we lost all the trees. Yeah. So, and then we try and go back and plant. So anything we take down, then we try and come back and replace with some. I can remember all the live oaks that are planted along University Parkway in the big field by the TDC. So Mr. Crew, who was one of the vice presidents here at the university, we went and planted all those. So those have been almost there 20 years. So, yes, sir.
So you say when you directly said glass on the auditorium, I'm curious, what all happened? Like, I've ever heard that it wasn't going to get closed at one point.
Yeah, so it closed, and I'm doing some research on that right now. I think back in the 80s, it closed down. So there is lead paint in the building. It is asbestos in the building. It is the main reason why it was closed then was we had a large ADA audit, and so that building has no ADA compliant entrance. The swimming pool had no ADA compliant entrance. So to bring around the pool's not wide enough for like a chair. So it was, you would have to try and move walls. Most of those walls are weight bearing. So then do you fill in part of the pool, redo it, some different things. If we were to do an auditorium, I think the best thing would be to just build all new. I think it would cost so much money to renovate, and I still don't know that we could bring it up to today's ADA compliant. But that's why it was closed, was due to ADA issues.
Is the building in use at all? So I've walked by it several times and seen people.
So they do use it for some storage, just because we can in and out. There was a time when we used the back part that's not where the swimming pool is, so the back part facing Kappa, not Caspery Street, so the very back part. Some of the art students were using that for some paint gallery area because we didn't care if you got paint on the floor or the wall or the whatever. So they were using that kind of like for some studio area.
Like what they did with God before it was.
That's correct. That's correct. And so, but mainly now it's for storage. I think Student Affairs and some of that uses it for just storage that doesn't have to be climate controlled. So, and we still have glass getting broke. There's, the glass along the top. You'll walk through sometimes and see that another piece, whether it's weather or mischief or whatever it might be, glass broke, and then we try and board those up as well. Because the last thing we want is someone to get in there and get hurt, or breathe something that they shouldn't. So. Okay, any other questions? Oh, okay, thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.